Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. And in today's video, we've got news about the summoning events coming this weekend. There are two. One is a 10x event, which actually looks pretty bad. I'll break it down for you. Pretty bad for the already fairly bad standard of 10x events. But then we also have something they've talked about. This special, perhaps once off. Come back to that. I've got feelings about that. 2x event for Primal Shards. Basically, what's going to happen in this 2x Primal Shard event, it's coming on Friday, and I think it's going to be up for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You will have a doubled chance for epics and legendary, so it goes up to 32% chance of epic, 2% chance of legendary, but the mythical chance doesn't go up at all, so that is staying the same, and that is happening. It's very interesting. Hell Hades, actually timely enough, put out a really good collaboration discussion with Big Papa Drock earlier today. I've seen a lot of people in my community already responding really positively to it. I thought it was a really good video as well. Basically, Big Papa Drock was like, yo, I'm one of the probably top 25 Krakens in the game, one of the top 25 accounts. And I can tell you that Primal Shards are absolutely terrible. They're way overpriced for what they are. And I'm going to stop spending. And I think a lot of other Krakens are too. That's sort of the broad gist of it, and they obviously break down why and etc. I'd really recommend the video. Well, I tell you, I'm curious to see what is going to happen now this weekend. This is interesting, and I can give you some advice here as well to sort of help you make a decision. But the way it goes when it comes into 2x, without a 2x event, a Primal Shard is really just an ancient shard with a 2x event on top. Right, but we've got ancient 2x events all the time. So why would you ever spend $8 or something like that? I think it's like $8.33 recurring, of course. Why would you spend $8.33 when you can spend maybe $1 to $1.50 or something like that for an ancient shard? And they're both giving you basically the same thing. Like, is the extra whatever $7 worth it for a 0.5% chance at mythical? I think the answer from everyone, or probably nearly everyone, I won't speak for everyone, but nearly everyone, is probably a resounding no. Because it is just crazy. When they up this chance, when they make it actually better, they double the epic and legendary chance. Okay, at that point, I think that does actually up the value of Primal Shards. Let's say if you'd spend $1.50 for an ancient shard, yeah, okay, Primal Shard then is maybe worth about €3 or $3, excuse me. We're talking about dollars here, $3. Maybe if you like you care about the mythicals, you think that's quite fun, maybe you'd spend an extra 50 cents, so $3.50, something like that. Here's the problem though. $3.50, that's what I'm sort of looking at as being okay, fairly all right. They've been previously selling these for about $8, so it seems rather unlikely that they're going to sell any that are going to be worthwhile. My expectation though, let me tell you, I do think this is interesting, right? I think the fact that they are bringing out this 2x event already, I think that shows that these Primal Shards must be really underselling compared to what they expected. Yeah. If you think about Soulstones released fairly recently. Oh, there's some Primal Shards. Speaking of, Soulstones released fairly recently. So that's a recent comparison. When Soulstones came out, they were charging, I think, about $1 or something for each mortal Soulstone. I think now you can often get them for like 50 cents or 60 cents. So they've dropped in price by about half. But that took a few months to happen. And there were no real events or big sales or anything very good for Soulstones at all at that time. Which I think is what Plarium would like to do. Sell them really, really highly priced when they first come out because they're new and they're shiny. And then when that new luster, that luster falls off, that honeymoon period wears off, then we start reducing them down to a price that is going to entice more people to spend, right? It's for basic enough marketing. The fact that they are already putting in an event for Primal Shards, yeah, definitely says to me, and especially when you combo that with the evidence of people like Big Papa Drock, obviously a lot of you in the comments, basically all of you in the comments talking about how unimpressed you are Primal Shards. I think they're selling very few of these things. And they've started that introducing this event is going to be one step. I am very curious to see if they also put out a pack at this weekend where they drop the price. And then I think the other interesting thing, which unfortunately you or I really have no control over, is whether people will buy it or not. Like, let's say they come out and they go, okay, $6 per Primal Shard this weekend. Ooh, and it's the 2x for Primal Shards. I think that will tempt a good few people into spending. I'd be very curious to see how much. And will they just keep doing events like that? Will they revert the price? Will they drop it even more? I think the fact that it's already clearly going pretty badly, I think it's pretty likely that, yeah, they will start dropping the price. You know, I think people, for me, I like the mythical champions. I think they're cool. But I've no real compulsion to chase them, really. It's just like, I'll get my mythical shards very slowly at the moment for free, and I'll pull them. But I don't care too much. I will say I would probably, as a content creator, if I was not a content creator, I wouldn't buy any of these. I am considering, you know, depending on the price of the deal, I could buy like 10, or well, I guess I've already got one, which is a free one. I pull my other free one. I'd buy 9 of them for like $50 for a video, but that would be probably my limit. I wouldn't spend more than $50 for the video. But yeah, like as a content creator, for the sake of a video, I'd probably spend 50 for to do a shard pull video instead of not doing one. You know, that's kind of worth it for my channel, but that's where I'm at. Like if I wasn't a CC, I wouldn't do it. What's the point? It's silly. I still think the fundamental thing here, and let me actually break down the mercy system too for you, is I think really the way to look at it is say, would I buy ancient shards for a 2x ancient event? I mean, for me personally, the answer is for the most part, no, not really. Would I buy ancients for a 2x ancient event? If the answer is yes, how much would I spend? Let's say you'd spend $1.50. I'd take about double that price. Again, maybe up it, maybe triple it if you want to be generous. No, that's too generous. I'd say double it and then add on like 50 cents. So yeah, like I said, I think about $3.50 would be, you know, if you are someone that likes to buy ancients for 2x ancients and you think that's a good use of your money, I'd say about $3.50 seems about right for primal shards in a 2x primal event. Is there my thoughts on it, my vibes. Another thing to notice, which takes away a lot of the value actually, and I haven't mentioned this yet, it actually does take away a lot of the value of the primal shards, and definitely would stop me pushing that price any higher than 350. The mercy system really sucks here. It's really, really bad. So first of all, the mercy system with legendaries, it kicks in at 75 and you get plus 1%. So, I mean, at approximately 175 summons, you've got a 100% chance. In fact, at 175 summons, you do have a 100% chance. So there you go. You know, you're getting, whereas with ancient shards, it's 220 summons to get a legendary guaranteed. With primals, it's only 175 summons to get a legendary guaranteed. Well, here's the thing. Considering that they are over double the price, this is actually not worthwhile, right? So I could buy 175 primal shards. Wouldn't recommend it. I doubt you probably can't. You probably can't even buy that many at the moment anyway. Probably not possible. I don't know. Is it? I hope not. But let's say you could buy 175 primals, and you get your, you know, guaranteed legendary through mercy. But for the same price, you'd be able to buy, well, if you could buy 175, you could buy other 400. Probably a current price is probably something like over 600, maybe more, over 800. More than that, like ancient shards, and you get multiple legendaries for that. So yeah, this mercy system is really, really very poor, actually, when you look at it in that sense. I think it does mean that, you know, if we get an okay source of these primal shards for free eventually in the game, like a steady income from like a new clan boss or something, and you're slowly adding it up, that, yeah, okay, the mercy system, at least it kicks in a bit early. That's nice. You know, you're going to get more legendaries per primal shard pull than you would per ancient pull. That's going to feel a bit more exciting, but I think that's really a long way off from feeling more exciting. It's quite poor. Another aspect is with the ancients, something you can totally play around, and especially voids as well. And you should be playing around this mercy system, right? When you're a bit further into the game. I think when you're early game, right, you're going to be mostly pulling in 2x events and saving up, you know, for summon rushes for fusions for probably at least the first year or so. But when you reach the point where you're not really chasing, I'd say probably the main point is probably you're not chasing any epics out of these shards. You don't care about epics anymore. These 2x events really fall off in value. And it's the same thing with primals as well. Like if you don't care about epics, 2x primals, like it's a 2% chance for legendary. You know, for $8, that's crazy. You know, you can get a 12% chance for $15 with a sacred shard. And that's still not worth it, you know? It's just crazy. What was I saying? I got distracted making that. rather shocking point. Oh, right. But yeah, when you get further and you don't care about the epics, then playing around this sort of effectively guaranteed legendary is something you can do because it triggers at 200 and it maxes out at 220. So you can be like pulling until you're close to 200. And because you can save up a good bit more of these shards, I mean, not many voids, but a good few ancients, like you can keep your shards banked and then go like all in a extra legendary event for ancient shards or a really good 10x event for void shards. So for example, if you've been playing for like over a year, like you don't really need void epics, maybe a year, 2 years, maybe. Like saving up your void shards to go for mercy or a Sifi, something like that is pretty worthwhile. That is how you should play when you are that far into the game. Or alternatively, saving up for guaranteed events. That's also something that can be worthwhile. But that's basically what you do. You cannot really do that with primals, nowhere near as easily. Because the shard chance increases by such a small number, it's very difficult. Like for primals, like once you hit 75, having like another 100 shards to go to pull mercy, that's just something that's really not doable. Whereas with ancient shards, being like, oh man, I've pulled 150 ancients and got nothing. Oh well, I could save up 70 ancients and basically guarantee myself a legendary in the next double legendary event, and bam, now I get 2 legendaries. And it's not so bad. I've played around that mercy timer and it's had a really big impact on my account. That's going to be way harder to do with primals because they're going to be hard to get and the increase per shard is so small, which means that effectively you need like 5 times as many shards to actually make it happen compared to saving for Ancient's Void. So like if you think it's hard, let's say the primals end up being as rare as voids. If you think it's hard to save up and hit your void mercy, primals will effectively be very similar, extremely similar if they're the same rarity, except like 5 times as difficult. Basically, would be my rough rule of thumb on it, which is absolutely brutal. The mercy for mythical is also obviously really weak as well. But yeah, again, I think that's quite far off. Like, I mean, we've got 2 shards so far, 200. That's something to worry about in the future, but obviously it's really, really bad as well. So that takes away, like I said, even more value from these primals. So yeah, long story short, 2x primals this weekend. Should you pull or should you not? It depends on the price of the shards they sell. Like I said, for me, I think probably the right price for these primal shards seems to be more like $3.50. Like I said, for me, I'd probably buy 10 for $50 as a content creator to get a video out of it. But like you can see from those comparisons, they've been selling them for over $8 so far. It's way off, basically. So almost definitely avoid it. I think if you've got a primal already, you've got maybe your 1 or your 2 that you got for free, maybe you got an extra 1 or 2 from some of the events so far. Hey, you could pull it in this 2x event. It's okay. Alternatively, you could always just save it for summon rush events to make fusions easier. We'll probably find out tomorrow. No, not tomorrow, on Friday, because it's a summon rush as well. We should find out how many points a primal shard gives in summon rush. It might give you probably not that much. I don't know. Like if a sacred is 500, a void is 120, what's a primal going to give you? Like maybe 150. It's probably not going to give that crazy much, but hey, it's something. So that might be worth considering, saving a primal to make a fusion easier. I think for the most part, there's going to be not really too much harm, I think, in just pulling it during the 2x at the weekend. Probably only have like 1 or 2 anyways. Hey, you might get lucky and get something. Most likely you get nothing. Join the club. I've got a rare so far on this. I'll definitely pull my 1 at the weekend just for funs. But not really expecting much. It's still going to be a massive chance to get a rare. I think it's still going to be around about 60%, 64% to get a rare, something like that. And so on. Something like that. I don't know, roughly. So it's still going to be fairly rough. It's what it is, right? We'll find out exactly. So that is that. The 10x event that is happening at the same time is only from, you've got a 10x for ancient sacreds and a 10x for voids. The 10x does not affect the primal shards. And what we've got, I think it's a pretty weak one. From ancients and sacreds, first of all, we've got a guy that you know from my Ice Golem run in the faction games. We've got my Celiac Priest Ornn. Like he's an okay AoE poisoner. He's a cool champ. He's not bad. He was very OP when he first released. Like he's okay. Would I be pulling for him in a 10x? No way. I think the best champion in this set is Thane. Thane's actually a great champ with decreased defense weaken. decrease attack and poisons, and she just hits really hard. So she's a great Demon Lord. Yeah, Demon Lord clan boss champion. She's very strong. She's got massive base attack, high as most mythical champions, in fact, or higher perhaps. It's a pretty good base attack right there. She's super squishy, so she's sort of like an unkillable Demon Lord MVP. So she's great for Demon Lord. Would I pull in a 10x event for a Thane? No. Um, I'd really be skipping this one. Then the other one from Ancients and Sacreds is going to be Scabrius. Scabrius is also like a Demon Lord. He's got like Weaken, can give himself increased attack. He has Leech. He's got poisons. Does more damage against enemies under poison. He's very like Thane. I think he's not as good as Thane, but similar sort of champ with a bit of an AoE. Again, like he's okay. He's kind of underrated because he's ugly, but would I pull for him in a 10x event? No. No way. The legendaries that are in the 10x event, Xavia is one of them. Xavia is not bad, right? Because she has the AoE Poison Explosion. This is something that some people might go for. AoE Poison Explosion is nowhere near as much of a thing for hard mode dungeons. So I don't know. I personally would probably recommend not bothering anymore. This was like the real deal back for normal mode, like stage 25. Poison Explosion was the jam. Not really anymore, though, so I'd kind of be against that. She does bring some AoE poisons. She's good for Doom Tower. She's pretty decent, but not super meta right now. We also have Noct the Paralyzer. I know some of you guys like Noct. I have him, and I've never actually built him. Like, he's a good ally protector with heals. He's got AoE with poisons and asleep. Decrease accuracy A1. He heals every time poisons. So he's pumping out a good bit of healing. He can do some sleep stuff, which is decent for Sand Devil, but there's easier ways to do Sand Devil than trying to use Noct, from what I've seen. I've yet to see a relevant, high-level Sand Devil team with Noct when you can just use Godseeker and Eerie to cheese it. So, not super keen on Noct. I think he's a solid progression champion, but again, I wouldn't be pulling shards for him. Now, the one champion that I would pull shards for would be Theodore the Savant. This guy is insane. He has the poison and HP burn explosion. You can also place poisons. He's got increased speed, AoE decreased speed. This guy is still relevant because he can blow up both poisons and HP burn. So he is very strong for even still hard mode. Dragon and Spider in particular. He's still very good. Solid Hydra champion. So Theodore, I think, remains sort of worth pulling for. That's something to consider if he would make a huge difference to your account. Bearing in mind, it's only a 10x event. But if you're right at Mercy Timer, for your ancients, or like well into Mercy for ancients or sacreds, okay, Theodore being in there might tempt you, but it's still a small chance. So yeah, on the whole, my overall review, ancients and sacreds for this weekend, pretty much a skip for me. I feel like it's a pretty bad event. It's like, oh yeah, maybe people pull a couple of primals, they get some summon rush points from primal shards, and you get tempted to pull a few more shards to get a bit further in summon rush. I don't really see huge value. From the void shards, we've got Uragrim from the ancients. Uragrim's pretty solid, like 2 poisons AoE with a continuous heal. He's got a heal there, and you can put poisons on his A1. He's a solid little poisoner. He's quite helpful for progression. He's really bad reviews because he used to be insanely strong, like way better than Bad Alcazar, which was dumb. And then they nerfed him, and people got really mad because they nerfed him into the ground. But he's still very solid. Honestly, he's still pretty solid. Again, would I pull voids for him though? No, I don't think so. Considering how limited they are, and you'd be early game needing him for progression, I'd much rather be saving my voids to make the next fusion easier, most likely, or 2x voids, much more so than pulling for 10x for an epic. I wouldn't do it. And then the void legendary is Supreme Kale, who again, I got him from the guaranteed void event, and he sat in my vault since then. He has yet to become relevant. This move, it's a move that could be a game changer in the future, or it could be totally useless. We simply do not know. But I think that, again, I wouldn't be pulling in a 10x. The 10x is already a gamble. And like I said, would I pull for a 10x Supreme Kale at the weekend when there's a 10x Sifi on right now? Sifi is guaranteed massive value for an account. Supreme Kale is very questionable value for the future. You'd pull for Sifi 10 times out of 10 over Supreme Kale. And there's plenty of other voids in that boat. And like, come on, dude. Like, they do bloody 10x events every single day now, it feels like. So Supreme Kale is a skip. So yeah, 10x event this weekend, honestly, pretty rubbish. Primal Shards, it's certainly interesting. It definitely says to me, Primal Shards are going badly for Plarium. And probably everyone is looking going, well, yeah, you're giving us like you're giving us tiny amounts of fragments for Hydra Clash. They're massively overvalued in events. They're so high up in the events, they're really difficult to get. And if you want to buy them with real money, it costs absolutely crazy amounts of money. So are you surprised it's not going so well? I will say I'm a little surprised that Plarium has apparently messed it up so much. Like, they are a money-making machine when it comes to shards. They probably have the most successful, probably is one of the most successful like games ever in terms of making money. They are experts at this, but it does seem like they've messed it up. I wouldn't have bet against them, but apparently they have done it wrong. Funny, funny. You'd think they'd be experts. All right, we'll see you next time, guys. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.